Imagine this, writing a scientific paper, like from start to finish, with absolutely no human authors directly involved. Sounds a bit like science fiction, doesn't it?
It really does. But today, we're actually diving deep into this fascinating guide. It's called Guide to Writing a Scientific Paper Using Artificial Intelligence. And it explores exactly that possibility.
Yeah, so if you've ever been curious about what AI can really do, especially with complex stuff like scientific research, or, if you're just up for exploring what's becoming possible, this deep dive is definitely for you.
We're going to unpack how, according to this guide, AI could potentially step into, well, basically every role needed to create a scientific paper. It's quite something.
So the guide breaks it down into 11 key roles that humans usually handle in scientific writing. And for each one, it proposes specific AI tools and methods as replacements.
Exactly. We'll explore these roles the AI tools suggested and how you'd even coordinate this whole AI-driven process. Our mission today is to really get a grip on the potential, the practical steps involved, and maybe even touch on some of the bigger implications.
Okay, let's start with the big one. The AI as the actual author. The guide mentions large language models like Grok 3, ChatGPT, Claude. How can an AI realistically formulate hypotheses? Write sections like the intro, methods, results, discussion. That seems like a huge leap.
It is a huge leap, but the guide argues the key is in the prompts. Really clear, detailed prompts given by the user that's you in this scenario.
Ah, so it's not thinking independently, it's responding to instructions.
Precisely. The guide even gives an example prompt, something like, write a 300-word introduction for a paper on climate change impacts on coral reefs, citing 5 recent references. It needs that specific direction.
I see. So the AI is a powerful tool, but the human is still the director, essentially. And I guess you'd need to refine what it produces.
Oh, absolutely. Iterative refinement is crucial. The guide stresses that. You prompt, review, prompt again, tweak it. It's a back and forth. Human oversight is vital.
Okay. Then there's the idea of AI as a co-author, or maybe an idea generator. It mentions tools like Google Scholar AI or Perplexity for this.
Right. These could potentially generate complementary ideas, maybe suggest different angles for experimental design or add specific technical details.
So you could ask something like, suggest an experimental setup to study antibiotic resistance in bacteria?
Exactly that kind of thing. Or you could use multiple AIs, combine their outputs to make the content richer, maybe get different perspectives you hadn't thought of.
Interesting, combining AI outputs. Now, what about the overall scientific direction? Keeping the whole project on track. Does AI play a role there too?
Yes, the guide suggests AI, maybe Grok 3 again, particularly with its deep search capability, or even planning tools like Notion AI, could provide that strategic guidance.
How so? Like checking if the paper is still aligned with the original objectives.
Exactly. Or suggesting structural improvements. The guide even gives a prompt example like, review this draft and suggest improvements to align it with nature standards.
Wow, checking against journal standards. That's specific. And deep search could help find recent trends in the field, maybe.
That seems to be the idea, yeah. Making sure the paper's relevant and current.
Okay, let's shift gears to data analysis and statistics. This usually needs some serious expertise. How does AI step in here?
Well, the guide points to tools like AutoML, or using Google Colab with AI integration, or even scikit-learn libraries may be assisted by something like Copilot.
And these can do what, exactly? Design the analysis.
They could potentially design statistical analyses, generate the actual code, say in Python, to run the analysis, and even create the tables and graphs for the results section.
Okay, but generating code and results, that sounds risky. The guide must mention verifying this, right? How do you ensure the AI didn't, make a statistical error or write buggy code?
That's a critical point, and yes, the guide absolutely highlights it. The need for human verification, your verification of the AI-generated code and the results is non-negotiable. You can't just blindly trust the output for scientific rigor.
Right, that makes sense. Essential.
Yeah.
So once we have a draft, maybe with some results, the language needs polishing. AI as editor and style checker.
Yep, this is probably more familiar territory for many. Tools like Grammarly, DeepL, or even models like Claude can handle grammar, spelling, style correction.
And adapting the language, like for a specific journal style guide, APA or AMA maybe.
Exactly. Or just improving clarity and flow. The guide suggests using DeepL with a prompt like, rewrite this paragraph to be clearer and more concise.
Useful for ensuring academic tone and fluency, especially maybe if you're translating concepts or writing in a non-native language.
Definitely. It helps polish the final text for professional communication.
And visuals. Figures, diagrams, graphs are key in science. Can AI generate those too?
The guide thinks so. It mentions tools like DLE3 or Midjourney for diagrams and illustrations, and things like Matplotlib, perhaps with AI assistance, for data-driven graphs.
So you could ask DLE for like a schematic diagram of a marine ecosystem carbon cycle.
That's the kind of example given, yes.
Yeah.
And for graphs, using something like Matplotlib based on the data analyzed earlier.
And ensuring they meet publication standards, resolution, format.
Right. The guide notes you'd likely need to ensure the figures meet requirements.
Yeah.
Maybe using other tools like Canva AI to adjust resolution or format if needed.
It feels like AI is ticking almost all the boxes. What about mentorship or peer review? Getting critical feedback.
Get this, the guide suggests using AI for that too, leveraging models like Grok 3 or ChatGPT in a critical mode.
Critical mode, what does that mean?
It means prompting it to act like a reviewer. For instance, read this draft and point out 3 areas for improvement in terms of clarity and scientific rigor, basically asking it to find weaknesses or inconsistencies.
Huh. An AI mentor or reviewer available 24/7.
That's interesting.
What about the ethical side? Plagiarism, compliance.
Covered as well. The guide suggests using standard plagiarism detectors like Turnitin, but also mentions potentially using ethical AI like Ethics GPT to check compliance with ethical norms.
And it could even help draft things like conflict of interest statements.
Apparently so. The example prompt is something like, review this text and suggest a conflict of interest statement.
This is wild. It even talks about simulating the publication process itself.
Yeah, this is taking it really far. Using AI, maybe
Yeah.
Grok 3 or ChatGPT in an evaluator mode to act like a journal editor.
How would that work?
You prompt it, act as an editor for science and evaluate if this manuscript is suitable for publication, providing reasons. It simulates that initial editorial assessment.
And simulating peer review as well.
Yes, using AI like Grok 3 in critical mode again, or Perplexity, to act as peer reviewers. They'd evaluate validity, relevance, suggest improvements, just like human reviewers, supposedly.
Okay, nearly there. What about the foundational work, literature review, citations?
AI tools for that too. Google Scholar AI, Semantic Scholar, Elicit are mentioned for searching and summarizing relevant papers. You could ask Elicit, find 10 recent articles on AI in medicine.
Saves a lot of reading time, potentially.
Potentially, yes. And then using reference managers like Zotero, possibly with AI integration, to handle the citation formatting.
So putting it all together, how does the guide suggest coordinating this entire AI workflow? It seems complex.
It outlines a logical flow. Define the topic and goals, maybe get the AI to help formulate a hypothesis. Then have AI structure the paper based on journal guidelines. Write sections using specific prompts, iterating and refining. Analyze data, or simulate it if needed with AI. Create figures.
Then the review steps.
Right. Use AI for internal review, like that critical mode peer review simulation.
Yeah.
Check ethics and originality. Format everything correctly. And finally, even simulate the submission and editorial evaluation.
It's a comprehensive process. But what are the key takeaways for actually getting a quality result out of all this AI work?
The guide really hammers home a few points. First, the specificity of the prompts is paramount. Vague prompts get vague results. Second, iteration. Constantly reviewing and refining the AI's output.
Okay.
Third, cross-validation. Using multiple different AI tools for the same task and comparing the outputs can help catch errors or biases.
Makes sense. Don't rely on just one tool.
Exactly. And overarching all of this is the absolute necessity of human oversight and expertise. You, the researcher, still need to guide the process, validate the outputs, and ensure the final product meets rigorous scientific standards. The AI is a tool, or many tools, but not yet a replacement for critical human judgment.
So as this guide illustrates pretty vividly, the idea of an AI writing a scientific paper isn't just a distant dream, it's something being actively mapped out with specific tools and steps. The potential impact on the speed and sheer volume of scientific output. It's kind of staggering to think about.
It really is. And it leads to some big questions, doesn't it? What does it truly mean for scientific discovery if AI can perform all these roles? Could it perhaps democratize research by lowering barriers?
Or what new challenges pop up? Verifying AI-generated findings, ensuring originality. How do we even define authorship if it's primarily AI-driven?
Those are the huge questions looming over this. Verification, originality, authorship. These concepts might need rethinking.
It's definitely food for thought. We really encourage you, the listener, to ponder these questions, maybe even check out some of the AI tools we mentioned today. Think about how these technologies might shake up not just science, but any field that relies on deep analysis and clear communication.
It's a rapidly evolving landscape, that's for sure. This deep dive just gives us a glimpse, and understanding the full potential and the pitfalls, well, that journey is really just beginning.